Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for rocking out with BGST, Big Gamer Small Talk podcast. Got people joining as we're going live here. Tim said he was joining. I don't know where the hell Tim is at. Kate Megan somewhere being a diva. Crap got swept up in the hurricane when he was screaming Megaton. You know what I mean? Holy crap, be back with us next week. Crab
hooked up to a generator right now, strictly to his PSVR, man. That's what he's doing.
He out there screaming Megaton. Crap in his trailer got swept away in the hurricane, man. Irma, was it Irma?
Trailer.
Yeah, that was Irma. Yeah. I think Jose next to us right now, man, like chilling around the tri-state area or whatnot.
Oh, so shout out to LG Gamer. Shout out to everyone in the chat. You be so kind again to hit the like button. We have a great show today. People are still joining as we speak. We didn't shoot last week, but we're back here today. There are a few topics. Now, listen, some of the topics we're going to go over today, I'm a little behind, so I'm going to be a fan, just like everyone. I hate to use the word fan, but everyone in the comments.
No word.
You guys were just telling me about the
Tim Dog.
Hey, there goes Tim Dog as we speak. You guys were just telling me about the UWP, and no. Before you even get into the show, I'm going to give a say what you got going on. Why the room is still filling up. Chris, what you got going on, bro?
Oh, I'm just chilling, plotting my next move. I got a new podcast coming out here soon on top of the Chris Steele program. I'm doing a little something different with my friend, the Creep Queen. She's a porn star. She does smut. Go check her out. We're going to be doing a sex advice show called Double Penetration Podcast. The reason why it's called Double Penetration, because there's just two of us. So look us up soon.
All right.
Other than that, just been chilling.
My man, King's Blood Gaming. They know you've been on this first. It's the second time you've been on BGST. What you got going on? Talk to me.
Nah, it's my first time. What's going on, y'all? Just same old. Just dropped a video today. Working on some more videos. My foot getting better after surgery, so I'm working. I'm back working.
Back working.
Man. Same old. I'm right back. Crushing you in all games. You know how we do.
Xbox 448. What you got going on, good brother?
What's going on, everybody? It's just another Sunday. BGST is back, and we gotta do this for crap, man. I think his straw hut flew away, and he's just sitting there hugging his PS4 right now.
Megaton.
Yeah, I can't do it like him though, but man, it feels really good to be back on BGST. Let's do this, man.
All right, Tim Dog, you there?
Yeah, you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you, Tam. Talk to me, man. What's going on? What's been on with you? I haven't spoken to you in a while. What's going on?
Give us that intelligent delivery, man.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Intelligent delivery. No, doing shit, same old. Just waiting for the X. It's been a pretty dry time right now. It's pretty.
So what are you playing?
The last game I played has been Ori. It's been dry for me at least.
How many times this time did you die?
No, dude, honestly, I'm pretty far, and I've only died, because I remember it, I've only died 10, 15 times.
Damn.
But, overall, though, right now is the time where you just it's been, you gotta get to the X, and
it's the calm before the storm, as they say.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm just waiting to get the X and see what the 4K is all about, and see if it's as advertised. I've seen it, but I want to see it in my house. So
Tim, you gotta grind on Destiny 2 until the X drops, and then go straight to Forza Motorsport, man. That's the way to go.
Yeah, I'm not touching Forza on S.
Me too. I said the same thing.
That's why I said when the X drops, man, that's when you go in Forza with the X. But until then, you can grind on Destiny. Destiny's not graphically anything, man, so it don't really matter.
And plus, it ain't gonna get the update.
That's true. That's true, kid.
All right. All right. The real Masterman. What's going on, brother?
What's good?
Member of the Broadband Bullies. What you got going on? New on your channel?
Yeah. I'm new to the BGST scene, but y'all see me out here in these podcast streets. So I appreciate y'all for having a young brother.
Thank me later.
Yeah, I will by beating that ass in whatever game we play.
All right, for sure.
But I appreciate y'all. Just follow my channel. I do daily gaming news about everything, but we keep it green till we die.
Okay,
so
for sure. All right,
appreciate y'all.
All right. Well, like I said again, I'm going to be more or less a fan of this show. I'm a little behind. I see that Windows Central released a new article saying that the Xbox One was getting, or the older games, whatever the case, would get a boost because of UDP, and I guess they allocated more resources to the game or whatever the case. Xbox, whoever, Mass, whoever, what's going on? What's going on with this?
Well, when it comes to UWP, for people who don't know, it's the Universal Windows Platform. And I didn't know this, but when they started this whole initiative where, you develop on this platform and it's basically ready to go across multiple devices. So your game can, play on the Xbox One, PC, wherever it's available. And it really takes a lot of the burden off the shoulders of the developers to try to, make different versions for each game for each device. And it was something that I know the developers were looking forward to and stuff like that. But the thing was, when it came out, man, there was a lot of restrictions. Like you can only use 1 gigabyte of the system's RAM, only 4 cores on the CPU itself. And I think you couldn't even use them independently. So there was like a lot of restrictions in developing a game on this. And I actually talking to Dealer, and I watched his video and stuff, they actually lifted a lot of that shit up. I think they're going up to I forgot how much RAM. I think it's either 5 or 8. 5 gigabytes of RAM. 6 cores that can like run independently, and you're really gonna start to see like full-fledged games that we know, like this generation. And developers really take advantage of this, man. It just seems like this past week, every time I turn around, Microsoft is doing something else to like push forward console gaming, man. It is really, really good to be an Xbox gamer right now. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'll just hop in real quick, but like the way that Microsoft has been setting themselves up, especially with UWP as a whole, because the whole plan for UWP is to make it so that what everybody, I guess, thought how games were developed, where they was cut and paste from one place to the other, that is a real thing with UWP, because it's all one integrated system. Right. So especially in games like that run DirectX 12, so Battlefront 2 and Battlefield 1 and Shadow of War, the new Colossus, all those games run on DirectX 12 exclusively, like from the jump. And as those games start to come out, you'll start to see even more power being drawn without putting a lot of emphasis on the problem, quote unquote, with the Xbox One X, which is supposedly the CPU. But those things will not only negate the issues that has, because for layman's terms, what happens is a game asks for something from the CPU has to think about what it's supposed to do and then send the message back to the GPU to render it. The way they're opening up access is basically like a direct pipeline. You ask for something and it's already happening as they ask for it. And that's how they develop the entire Universal Windows platform, so that across PC, across the Xbox, you develop for one, you basically develop for the other. So you'll start to see a lot more games that are exclusive to PC. You'll start to see those come over just because it's basically nothing for them to move them. You'll also start to see a lot of games developed on the Universal Windows platform because it allows them to put it out on 2 platforms by only doing one set of work. So it doesn't cost them anything more to develop for multiple platforms, because just one Universal Windows platform. And you'll start to see that the PC assets and the way certain things run on PC will carry over to the Xbox One, both the S and the X. They'll play better and look better, of course, on the X, but both the S and the X will benefit from this stuff.
Okay. Oh yeah, definitely, man. Like I'm just trying to say, if I'm a developer, I got a game, right? I have UWP over here, where if I develop the game on that platform, like I basically automatically I would have it on the Xbox One and PC, no doubt, launching the same day, because it takes minimal effort, minimal coding to go and specify when it comes to each platform. I believe it's like 1 or 2 lines of coding to go for each, and your game's up and running on multiple devices, has a bigger like consumer base there, man. As a developer, like I that'd be a no-brainer for me, yo.
Well, again, in layman's terms, I mean, we'll just say we all know that the resolution gate kind of plagued the Xbox earlier this generation. Would this help bump some of the games that may have been 720p?
1000%.
You know what I mean? On original Xbox, so maybe bring them up to at least 900p, or if they were 900p to get them to 1080p.
Yeah, because what this will do is it'll allow the GPU to do more processes for the same amount of work. So right now, the GPU gets maxed out, and instead of sacrificing textures or frame rate, what developers do right now is just scale the resolution back and keep everything roughly the same, which causes a little haze or blur. That's basically what resolution does. That it either distorts the image a little because it's compressed, or it expands it, and that's pretty much what resolution does. But them opening up so much RAM gives them so much more overhead. So not only will you see better resolutions, but you'll see faster load times.
See, I don't want people to think this is like an automatic magic wand. First of all, it's only for games that are developed on the UWP.
Yeah.
All right, DX12 UWP. Those are the games that are getting all of this, right? I look at it more as going from now into the future than kind of reaching back in your bag from the past and trying to make any of those games better. And that's what I've been seeing from Microsoft lately, whether it's this UWP, which we're talking about now. I know we're doing the intelligent delivery later. It's just there's so many things in the pipeline now when it comes to Xbox in terms of pushing console gaming forward, having a true identity moving forward when it comes to the console. That I'm really hyped for this shit, man. I don't know.
All right, well, Tim, you there?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say, one of the big things that they talked about, we'll probably talk about it, was the 1080p capture that they to external hard drive. I think that is pretty impressive, and I think that when the X comes and you're going to have 4K 60 with HDR capture, you're getting into some pretty impressive things right there.
Oh, hell yeah.
The ability to capture that, along with intelligent delivery, along with all the things that they're adding to the UI and the tinkering that they're doing, they're really setting themselves up for the launch of the X. And, when you draw a parallel to the Xbox One to the Xbox One X, you see one that wasn't really ready, and you see one that is, chomping at the bit to get out there. That it's so developed correctly and ready to go that it definitely should draw praise because they got it down. They did this right.
Well, here's a question again, and I hate to be how you say, to look at the glasses half empty or half full here. What the hell was this? What the hell was this 3 years ago?
It wasn't ready, man.
They weren't ready.
I mean,
when they released the Xbox One, they didn't even have proper drivers. The drivers were for the Xbox One weren't even close to being refined. Canelo used to talk about that.
They were still on Windows 8 too. Like they were still on a bastardized version of Windows 8. Like it wasn't even the full version. It was like a mobile version of Windows 8. It was
like
horrible.
Windows 8, get in your cage, motherfucker.
Right. Like it was horrible. So Windows 10 is what allows them to do this because they set up the Apple method kind of thing where everything will be under one umbrella. So it'll be easy to move things from one place to the other, and it'll put people, like, you buy music here, it'll be on your Xbox. You buy a movie here, it'll be on your Xbox. They want that dichotomy to work within the Xbox family, the whole Windows family. And even to Tim's point, like the external capture thing, you basically turn everybody's external hard drive into an Elgato. That's basically what that is.
All right. Well,
So they gave everybody an Elgato for free. I agree. It should have been here 3 years ago, but it wasn't ready. It just Windows 10 came out. Now they're starting to move into the whole universal Windows on everything.
Yo, Z, when you talk about where was this 3 years ago, this is one thing I got to point to, man. And I know my boy Phil has caught a lot of heat lately, but do you now see kind of like the direction that he's bringing the Xbox division? Just those little like details, stuff we didn't even think about in order of like game installs and really fleshing out your game DVR on your system. Like he talked about, you know, coming out with the new hardware to get rid of that whole resolution bullshit. He talked about, you know, letting you play games wherever you want to play them with the UWP, and they flesh that out. And he said the next thing is you know, developing those first party studios and stuff like that. I have a tendency to believe what Phil is saying now, because he has done absolutely everything up to this point in terms of his roadmap, man. This is what Phil Spencer is bringing to the table. He's got the Xbox division all in line, running smooth, well-oiled, and they're moving ahead to the future, man.
Okay, and so now next E3, we'll see those first-party titles.
Hell yeah.
Okay, now again, I raised the question: do you think Microsoft or the Xbox division would have fared better? I'm sorry, if they would have pushed the original Xbox One back a year?
Probably not. They would probably still be playing catch up.
Well,
they wouldn't have the specs in place. That's the problem.
Well, if they pushed it back a year, they probably could have changed up the system RAM in a year. They could have done that. All right, and that right there could have changed things. But in the end, you know, they had a vision for the Xbox One, which was always online. And of course, a lot of people trash that shit. The same people that trash that shit back in 2013 are playing online only games now, by the way. So I don't know what the hell they were talking about.
Doing it happily.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they had to trash it back in 2013. Yo, Microsoft sometimes has this issue where they see too far into the future, sometimes further past like their consumer base, and the consumer base doesn't get it, right? I love innovation, man. When I saw the always online back in 2013, I was all aboard for that. I have an internet connection. You know, we got computers, we got cell phones, tablets all hooked up, Wi-Fi and stuff like that. It didn't bother me, man. I was in it for that system, but they you know, unfortunately, most of the people didn't see it. So, you know, with a year delay, it could have helped in terms of the power with the system RAM and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, they were still going to try to present it as always online, man.
Here's the thing, and again, what I mean by maybe you can add to this, Tim or Garrett or Chris. What I mean by push it back a year, it's what we're talking about, the overall messaging, and we know again how the Xbox got slammed. Whether TV, that was the first thing. Then it was the anti-consumerism, always online. Then the third narrative came with the power. Now, had they waited a year, most likely Sony would have still always, you know, had the thing with as far as the DRM, as far as used games, they would have done it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know, if you listen to what Jack Tritton said during
that's a good point, man. During
the interview with Eurogamer, he said we have something in place for a third party to take advantage of that. We can't stop them from using it. And if you listen to what Microsoft said, this is something that the third party asked for. You know, the whole, you know, the DRM thing, or, you know, as far as that. So what I mean, had they pushed it back a year, we all know that the Xbox One X, the one that especially the version that we got, wasn't the final product. You know what I mean? That console again was made for Windows 10, DirectX 12, and that wasn't coming out until 2014. So in my honest opinion, I think if Microsoft can get a do-over, I think it would have probably felt
they got a do-over now. That's called this Xbox One.
I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a do-over. I mean, that's really.
Well, I see what Z is saying though. If they had held back a year, it would have pushed PlayStation to the front.
They would have had no specs. They would. Yeah, but once you set in.
Good. No, they could have changed system RAM, man. They could have done that.
No, they couldn't have.
Yeah. Let's be real.
Once you're set with fixed hardware down the line, you can't just go in there and change things.
What I mean by that. hold on one second. What I mean by not so much the hardware, because it's not just the RAM. The PS4 has a beefier GPU. You know, I mean, more CUs. It is what it is. But what I mean by is that the messaging. You know, Microsoft got slammed for their policies. Not so much the hard. The 1080p stuff came later on. You know what I mean? It was first TV, DRM, and then 1080p. You know, always online. And again, had they waited a year, you know, when the console was complete, as far as the software side of things, you know what I mean? You know, I think maybe they.
Well, they weren't that far behind comparatively to Sony. I mean, Sony has never been, you know, they weren't pumping out software platform features.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Sony didn't really have any big exclusives. Probably for the first 3 years. You understand? And the most people actually. What would be your pitch a year later? You're gonna have the same specs.
Well, see, yo, Tim, what I think what Z is saying is, if they did delay this, when it comes to messaging and marketing, all right, PlayStation, we all know that once they saw what Microsoft did in the backlash, they went out there and they grabbed the camera out of the box. They're like, fuck this, we're not putting this with the PS4. No, yo, we're marketing this as it's not always online anymore. No, fuck that. We're throwing that out the window as well. But if they had delayed it, then it would have put Sony and PlayStation to the front, where they might have came out with that shit first. You see what I'm saying? And what would have happened if they came out with that shit and it bombed? I think that's what Z is trying to say when it comes to
what I'm saying. Well, because again, you know, the hardware is the hardware. It is what it is. You know, this generation, they made a big deal of the whole 1080p and 900p. I get it. But you're taking that narrative away and just looking, like I said, Microsoft got
that would have been interesting, man.
They got hammered more for their policies, DRM, always online, connect inside the box, just that. Had they waited a year until the software side of things, like I said, the Xbox One was complete, maybe we'll be having a different conversation, or it would have been a different console.
Skip that on the Connect. They should have skipped out on the Connect. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Even if they would have waited a year, the console still would have been similar to the PS4. It would have been closer. It wouldn't have been 1.32 teraflops to 1.84, right. But it wouldn't have been too much different. You know what I'm saying? That's only a year later. You might have had DDR5 instead of DDR3, but it's not. It wouldn't have been too much different. Like, it would have pretty much been the same as what the PS4 was, but hopefully it'd have been a little bit cheaper. I mean,
man, you a Connect hater? Man, I love my Connect. I still use that shit to this day.
But he's right. He's right though. Like they had a vision and they had everything set up for Connect. Once
your boy Donnie D.
There was no way to. There was no way to backtrack from.
Yeah, they put a bunch of R&D.
The only thing they could have done was take out Connect.
Donnie D bet it all on Connect and lost, bro. It is what it is. Like, we can't front on it. It is what it is. We can lie and make up little stories all we want, but Donnie D bet it all on Connect and lost. He literally took everything in his pocket and put it on red.
And then quit.
But see, what's going to happen now with Connect is Apple's going to turn their Connect technology in their iPhone 10 into something great, while nobody's going to realize that Xbox has been using that technology for years.
See, what I think is at the end of the day,
it always works.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's fun to go back and think about, well, what if this happened or what if that happened? But everything is set in stone. What happened 2013, moving on, to me, I think it's actually remarkable that they didn't have the drivers right. The API was patchwork Windows 8, and we still had Rise, Son of Rome. We still had, like, even a little bit later on, Sunset Overdrive. We still had all these great games on the system when that shit wasn't. It was very premature. So now, looking at what they're doing, they finally caught up with themselves, and I think a lot of it has to deal with the leadership of Phil Spencer. Man, I know he plays on PC, and I know he's not going to make every right decision. So when it came to like focusing on the PC side a little bit more, yeah, you guys will have an argument. But in terms of the innovation that they're showing with the Xbox now, with how you install games, with having that game DVR, with being able to put the clips on your external hard drive, all this stuff that no other console is really doing to this extent. And it's like, wow, they are really moving forward, and they are kind of like leading the way, innovating console gaming again.
Well, again, I had to shut up. We got that weirdo Rags in the chat going crazy. I gotta ask you again, Tim. Ask you a question. I haven't spoken to you on the air for a minute now. And someone mentioned here again in the comment section. What's the name of the damn game? Age of Empire. Now we heard all the stuff about Windows UDP, this, that, and the other. They're asking, why isn't that game coming to the Xbox One?
It might.
It might. Well, right now isn't that a keyboard and mouse type of functionality type game?
Yeah, for sure.
The old one was.
So I mean, the idea of that game, I understand what you're saying. Why did PC come over to our end? But I think what you're going to have most likely with those type of games is that they're going to have controller support built in if they're going to come out on the Xbox platform. I don't think that they're going to have a game like Age of Empires come out on the storefront and only PC is supported. Like only keyboard and mouse is supported, no control. That's just not going to happen. So, unfortunately, you're not going to get those games. Even if they do get, which is pretty much confirmed, mouse and keyboard support. You're not going to get those games just to support, one controller type. You're going to have.
Why the hell put mouse and keyboard on there if you're not going to?
This is what I think is going to happen. What will happen is this: if for the mouse and keyboard support, they'll probably have specific games because why not? The PC has it. As we get more and more into technology and how things go, our consoles are more and more just like PCs, just without being able to print up shit from Excel or something like that. So what they'll do is they'll have an app that you will have that you will let the Xbox know that you are using a mouse and keyboard. It'll be similar to the accessories app for like the Elite controller, right? So then that will let the Xbox know that you're running mouse and keyboard so you can have those keyboard and mouse specific games. When it comes to multiplayer, having that app being triggered will now put you in a pool of other players that have mouse and keyboard, so you're not in one general pool. So where if I'm playing with a controller, I'm not going to be against somebody with a mouse and keyboard, but they may allow you to opt into that. But that's what I think is going to happen. They can't just say, no, we're not going to have
It's going to be developer specific. Yubara spoke on it. Basically, it's, you're going to segregate yourself. If you want to play against keyboard and mouse type players, you're going to have an option. And to be quite frank, I don't think that there are going to be many games that really developers are not going to build it in. You might have the Minecraft thing where you can use your keyboard and mouse. And you might have little things here and there, but I think people get like full blown, crazy thinking that like people are going to start pulling out keyboards and turning on your Xbox. It's not going to happen like that. You might have maybe one big game like a specific would be at the biggest PUBG, but you'll be up to the developer to build it into the game and support it. Xbox is not saying, hey, you have to build it in. They're just giving the option. And like I said, I don't see anything where every game that's on Xbox One and Xbox One X storefront is going to have controller support. There's not going to have a game like Age of Empires where you launch with a keyboard. That's just not happening.
See, Tim, I hear what you're saying, man, and you make sense. But my whole thing is, why not though? If they're going to support mouse and keyboard, like I don't want with mouse and keyboard, and I've been very, very vocal on this. Is I'm a Halo dude. I don't want to see Halo 6. I don't want them mixing the pool in competitive arena with me going against somebody on mouse and keyboard just because I love playing a controller and I don't want to deal with that bullshit while I'm playing Halo, right? But if they're going to support it, then why not bring games over that are catered specifically to that? I mean, that'll keep that community happy.
I mean,
right?
I understand what you're saying, but I think it just is confusing when you have some kid on the storefront say, "Hey, look at this! I can buy Age of Empires," and they try to buy it, and then it doesn't launch.
Yeah,
there's
good point,
things
man.
that are specific to keyboard and mouse. I just think that when it comes out, it's going to be very specific and it's going to be detailed.
So what they'll do is they'll have a Microsoft only Xbox branded mouse and keyboard. So you can't use your dope Logitechs or your fucking cool ass light up razors.
But here's the thing.
I was wondering if they were just going to ignore the diva.
Well, here's the thing. What's up, nigga? What I'm not saying I'm afraid of anything, but is that you look at I pray to Gears of War, and that's my Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, Gears of War, right?
Oh,
and you take how they did with Gears of War, they just slapped the PC guys in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Keyboard. And which I think again, I don't care how good you are skilled with a controller. you're not going to beat a mouse and keyboard. There's no way in hell. You know what I mean? Especially when they're running like 120, like they're skipping across the screen, like it's crazy as all hell. You know what I mean? I don't want them to, like, someone else to open that Pandora's box. You know what
else? See, I heard was crazy because there's a lot of people looking forward to PUBG right now, right? On the PC side of things, I hear that the controller support for that is fucking horrible, man.
But that's okay. But that's just like with other games that you may have played. Like, for instance, let's just say Lawbreakers during that, during the little beta that we was playing, the controller support was absolutely ass.
On PC or PS4?
On PC.
Okay.
But when you play it on PS4, feels fine. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's not about it's the same thing for PUBG. PUBG is going to play fantastic on the Xbox because okay, let me give you another scenario. Path of Exiles. Path of Exiles on the PC is all keyboard and mouse. On the Xbox, it's all controller. Plays fantastic. No problems, no issues, no lag. They're the same game. What are you talking about? Path of Exile? No, I'm just saying well, okay, you were talking about Age of Empires, and if you want Age of Empires to come to the Xbox, then, which I think that it will, it's probably going to require a keyboard and mouse. Or if it's going to come to the Xbox, it might have some controller.
Then the devs have to go in and they have to code in that controller support.
Well, it's just like Path of Exiles. They had to do that. They had, you know what I'm saying, because it's all keyboard and mouse on the PC.
So even they already have Halo Wars 2. Halo Wars 2 is set up for keyboard and mouse, and it's the same.
Well, Halo Wars 2 was built for controller first, man. If you go back and you research the development cycle on that, it was Halo Wars 2 because of they wanted to really cater to the console gamer with that game, and they actually developed the controller first to make sure it was as intuitive as possible when it came to controller support and stuff like that. And then they went and they kind of did it reverse what they would normally do with a PC/console game. Usually they would do the mouse and keyboard first and then kind of throw in the controller support, but they went opposite with Halo Wars 2. Yeah.
Well, I'm not worried about it, just for the mere fact that we're talking about Microsoft. When if they want their games to come out and to be controller based, which I think that they will, I think that they're going to do both. No, you know what I'm saying? You got to look.
I'm laughing at Irrelevant Native. He's like, the fuck was that dolphin noise, bro?
Oh, that was a shout out to Livewire, man. Yeah, on GRG we do it all the time, man. We throw it, you know what I'm saying? Because Livewire is, you know what I'm saying, he's like 6'6", and you would think that he stays out there and he stays in New York, out there in Yonkers or some crazy shit, I don't know, somewhere out there, and you would think that he would be all about playing basketball, but the dude is a swimmer. Like he swims. You know what I'm saying? So like that's why I give him I call him Flipper. So that's a whole little noise. So, anyway, yeah.
And I hate to break it to some of y'all, but honestly, a lot of these PC games that Microsoft is trying to bring over to the Xbox platform, it's not going to work as seamless as you think it is. Like, I don't know if you guys play PUBG or not, but PUBG, when you gotta get your weapon, you gotta put the attachments onto the weapon. It takes time. Like, it's like the whole layout, the interface is going to take it's going to need something. They better figure something out as far as bringing that over to Xbox. Like, have you not seen
the controller layout yet? Because they already showed the controller layout.
It's not about that. It's not about that. It's about when you got to pause, and it's like you got to kind of pause and go into a menu screen to get the weapon. You got to put the attachments on the weapon. You got to drag on PC. You got to drag and pull it. You just drag and drop it in the box. It's going to be different for Xbox. I'm telling you, you got to play the game to understand how different it's going to be. And if they allow PC players to mix in with Xbox players are going to be slaughtered. Trust me when I tell you.
Yeah, that's a concern of mine. Again, mixing the pool again. That's going to be a concern of mine until they really come out there and they show with a couple titles what they are doing to ensure that people gamers with a controller are happy doing what they're doing, and gamers with mouse and keyboard are happy doing what they're doing over there. But it doesn't, when it comes down to it, a console game to me is different than a PC game anyway. And I hear what you're saying when it comes to, dragging the parts and just dropping them in the box or whatnot. But, on the console side of things, at least everybody's going to have to do whatever you're saying. If they have to pause it and put in the menu and stuff, everybody will have to do that as well. So I don't have a big issue with that. And of course, they have Xbox guys over there helping with the development of the Xbox One version anyway. So, right. At least they're, Xbox and Microsoft, they're taking that time. They sent people out there. They're working on it with the developers and making sure that it's the best product it can be coming to console, man.
I think that's why I'm not worried, because of the fact that Xbox, if this was the makers of PUBG going out and trying to make the game controller eccentric for the Xbox gamer, then I would be worried. But Xbox is in there. They're doing that stuff, so they know what the controllers and they understand about this game. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not even understanding why people are tripping about this. I mean,
do you guys
no.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but do you guys remember when Destiny and Diablo was 900p?
Yeah, yes sir, yes sir. Yes, sir.
They said they sent the team and they got it up to 1080p.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Those are the same guys that are now working with PUBG, and they are pretty much they're real good developers on Microsoft's side. We'll
call them Strike Team Xbox.
I don't want to say best of the best because there's a lot of developers, but they are advanced in a lot of ways, and they're helping out with that game. Also, to King's Blood point, Garrett's, the part of this partnership is to the PUBG developer. They said that they want to make PC versus console somewhat competitive in a way. They said they mentioned maybe a controller assist for shooting.
Yeah, aim assist.
Consoles.
Fuck that.
Right. They talked about things like that, but that's part of what this thing is they want to fully get this game where it's playable, and I think that they're going to try to make it where console gamers can actually play versus PC gamers, and it's not an uneven battleground. But obviously, it's going to favor PC. But they are actually attempting that, and that's part of the deal too. I think is that they're trying to get that all done as well. So what that says is there's going to be a lot of time spent with Xbox, with the team, with that team of developers, and all of this to try to get this right. So this is going to be a big partnership for a while.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we can move the show right along.
Let's do it.
Rumor has it that the Xbox One X pre-order standard editions are going up September 21st.
The hell took so long, man?
They'll be going down the 21st as well, because them boys are going to sell out quick.
Here's the thing. I'll get you guys' opinion on this. What do you think when did the Scorpio pre-orders go up? Last month?
Yeah.
Going towards the end of last month. Yeah.
All right, so we're in September, so the end of August, right?
Yeah.
It took basically a whole month, 6 weeks for them to replenish the stock, or do you think that was done on purpose to drop a demand? You know what I mean?
Like, they didn't think they were going to sell out in a day, though. That was part of the thing. They really thought they were going to have 7 to 11 days of shipment.
But they stated early September. They did state early September for the regular Xbox One X pre-orders. So I wonder what the hell took so long, man. You know what I'm saying? Here we're looking at the end of September now. I think in the end, it's not going to really matter in terms of pre-order numbers. I know there's a bunch of people out there that are ready to pre-order, man. They got their finger on their mouse. They're ready to hit. Yeah, let's do this, right? But I just wonder, like, because I was there when they said it. They said, early September, and then like I was just waiting. I actually have 2 Project Scorpios pre-ordered, so I don't really give 2 cents right now.
Yeah, me too. Hey, but you got a point, bro. Like, but let's be real. Everything about this whole Scorpio release thingy has been kind of unorthodox, if you think so. Like, look at the way they released the Project Scorpio version. I mean, look at the way they put up the pre-orders for that. Like, everything is just weird when it comes to this console. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe they were trying to like restock or beef up the stock that they have, or
it's too many white gloves, man.
Yeah,
that's too many white gloves.
That's what they were doing.
I'm thinking they didn't know how many people were actually wanting to get this console. Like they actually believe these idiots like Michael Pachter and all those guys.
Yeah, when they saw the 7 to 11 days turn to 1.5 days, they immediately went back to the drawing board, because remember you started seeing all those articles about supplies being short, and Microsoft immediately was like, no, we're not going to have short supplies. So what they probably did was go back to all their manufacturers and was like, these versions of the S that are up and down with which ones are coming out, streamline this line for the new X's. That way we can produce more. So once they knew the production numbers, like how many approximately they would have ready by November 11, they went to those partners and said, here is now, the number we have, and here's the number you're going to get. So now we can give you an accurate date to start pre-ordering things, so that when things inevitably sell out, they can say everything is sold out. But if you don't know that and people just pre-order, then all that happens is people start pre-orders start getting canceled, even though they went to the store and paid the money. So I think they're trying to avoid that, and they wanted to have a definitive number for how many they could realistically produce, and they didn't expect the show out for everybody to pre-order the Project Scorpio edition. So they're just beefing up their stock to make sure that they have enough for anybody who wants.
I gotta say this
Scorpio edition was their litmus test to see how well things were pre-ordered, right? Do we have a number of how many Scorpio editions there were? No. All right, so let's just say there was.
Xbox don't do numbers, man.
Okay, but let's just say there was 50,000, right? So
I think more than 50.
It was way more than 50,000.
All right, but I mean, for it to sell out in a day, for Scorpio edition to sell out in a day was pretty much clear, cut and dry to them. That said, okay, we definitely got to ramp up our production on these.
Yeah,
I just want to say something to the chat real quick. Omagazio is doing his usual pony spin and shit like that, talking about no games. Yo, Omagazio, where were you during that sparse year? Because not for anything, when it comes to Xbox, yo, since the launch, man, we've been hit with new IPs, with exclusives. Yo, Halo, Forza Motorsport, Sunset Overdrive, Rise Son of Rome, Ori and the Blind Forest. Dude, how are you gonna be blind to that fact? And you told me their sparse year, but talk shit about 2017 with Xbox. Get the fuck out of here.
No, but everybody for preaching bot, pass the offering. When I bought, go ahead.
No. Again, so I remember last year again, I said that most likely going forward, the X is going to be Microsoft's most popular console. We all know the DS sales are in the shitter right now. Do you again? I think demand new console, and this whole generation has been about power. Do you think the X can be Microsoft's #1 console?
People are ready for this. People know about the power of the Xbox, right?
Yeah.
People are excited. It's definitely going to be. I think Microsoft probably, we're humbling themselves when they said that they expect the S to sell more. I think once it gets into the stores and they have the kiosks and everything's all set up and people can walk into their Best Buys or their EB Games or whatever and see this thing, people are going to be like, you know what? I can go get this TCL TV for $500. I can go get the Xbox One for $500. I'm going to have the best, most powerful console. People are going to underestimate this thing until they see it. It is going to be Microsoft's workhorse.
And Chris, this is one thing that has been absolutely amazing for me for the last week. I've had some associates, some people, some old school, some friends that I went to high school with and things like that, hit me up on Facebook in other places because they know that I game and I game on Xbox. They're like, hey, bro, man, I seen that new Xbox coming. Man, I got to get it, man. I mean, and then they asked me about, do I need a 4K television? I said, no, but if you wanted to make your games look better, then you could get invested into a 4K television. So then they asking me advice on 4K televisions, and I'm like, really, I'm not the guy to ask about 4K televisions, but I say for me, what I got is a Sony. And so they already got their pre-order. They went and got the pre-order once they seen like the Taco Bell commercials, when they went out there and seen and was seeing on the magazines or whatever. It got out. So for the advertisers, especially when they showed Madden and when they were showing Madden and everything, that got a lot of people interested, and that's what it's all about. Like, I mean, there are people that's gonna buy this console because to them they think that this is the brand new Xbox, and that's it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so it's gonna be awesome, man. It's gonna be more than what people thought that was gonna get this X, man. For real.
Yo, Mega, I gotta agree with you. What the X does is like Z said, we've been dealing with resolution and shit like that since 2013. The X wipes that shit clean, right? Yeah. I don't think it's absolutely gonna take over. I think Xbox is underestimating kind of like the sales of this piece of hardware. I think at the end of the day, I still feel like the One S is a great kind of like entry level price point with the upscaling to 4K. You got the UHD Blu-ray player, HDR in it for what, like $250 or so with a couple games and shit like that. With the promotion going on right now, I still think that's a really good deal, and I think there's going to be like moms and pops, grandmas and grandpas out there that when the holidays come around, they are going to pick up the S. But I feel that Xbox is underestimating the One X as well. I think it's going to sell more than what they're planning, man.
Yeah, I definitely know that for a fact.
If we're asking whether or not the X is going to sell more than the S, I mean that's crazy. Like the S is going to be like $200.
No,
I'm not saying it's going to sell the X all day. It might be the X is going to be more popular, yes, especially if it's in every single store, and that's going to be everything. Like I remember back when the 360 used to be plugged up in. I used to work at Best Buy. The 360 used to be plugged up with Fight Night 3, and it was everything. Like I don't know what Xbox has to, what game they have to put in on these kiosks, but they
have to upgrade them fucking kiosks, man.
It's gonna be for them. Yeah, it's gonna be for them. But the Xbox One X is gonna push a lot of people to buy the S, because and the reason I say that is because what'll happen is people go into the store, and the people that's on that fence, like, yo, I want this, and then they might be like, yo, it's $500, and I just bought the iPhone 10. So
fuck that.
I'm just saying. Let's keep it real. They gonna get it. I just bought the iPhone 10. I spent that G, and this is $500. But it's gonna come down in price next year. So you know what? I'm gonna buy this Xbox S, and I still have all the games. So whenever I want to get this one, because it looked dope on this TV, I'm gonna upgrade my TV, and then I'm gonna get this one. But if I buy all this, the Xbox, all this stuff move over to this one, and it look better, word, and they're gonna get the Xbox S. That's how they're gonna sell a lot of S's, especially come Black Friday, when, like you said, it's gonna be $200, maybe even sub 200 with a few games. Like that's gonna push people both directions, because everything being on both platforms, people are gonna ask the dude in Best Buy. Be like, yo, if I buy this, is it the same as this one? Nah, this one's better. Cool. If I buy this game, will it play on that one? Yeah, everything is the same across both. They're gonna go with what they can afford right now, because they bought that iPhone, and then in a year or in 8 months when the price drop for the X, they're gonna go and buy the X because they're gonna upgrade. The X is gonna put people in the Xbox system.
Dude, I like where you're going with this, because like if they do, I know me and K Mega have been saying this about the kiosks for I don't know how long now. Yeah. If they go in and they upgrade these kiosks, it'll get people over to the Xbox wall, right? And then from there, like if that $500 is too much, then look at this. They got what, a $250 one. They're gonna throw like a shitload of games at you. You know what I'm saying? 3 months Game Pass, stuff like that. dude, that'll also actually help sell the S, like you said, man. That's genius. Yeah,
yeah, and that's the one thing that's pretty amazing is that, okay, like when I went and picked up NBA 2K18 the other day, they there was some like teenage people with their moms or whatever, and you know, about 14, 15, something like that, and they were looking at the, you know, the TV screen that does all the advertising and stuff, and they were showing GT Sport. But what was crazy is that they were advertising the steering wheel, and they had the PlayStation steering wheel and they had the Xbox steering wheel, and this kid was asking his mom, like, "Mom, you think that racing game is gonna come to the Xbox? Because I got an Xbox and I want to get that steering wheel." And so she didn't know. I wanted to talk, but you know, I'm not going to be just going into talking to strangers and saying, "No, this is what's going to happen," and Forza's going to blow that shit away. But
I do that shit though.
But the thing of it was that, like, you can't trust what the advertising at GameStop is going to be looking on the screen, because people just think that, only, you know, if they're not into the know like we are, they just thinking that PlayStation is just going to have a racing game, and you know what I'm saying, and that's it. That kiosk needs to be on, and it needs to have an Xbox One in there, because the kiosk on the Xbox side is completely off.
That's why
Mega,
completely off. PlayStation's on there. Huh?
Like I said, I asked the
it's Microsoft's job for that. Yeah, Microsoft got to get this shit rolling, man. They got to get it out there.
I'm speaking from experience here, because I was a part of the evil corporation, man, and I worked for GameStop, and I could tell you, when the holidays came around, I worked in a mall, right? So I had a GameStop in a mall, high traffic area. There were crowds of kids around the kiosks and stuff like that. Yo, Sony and PlayStation, they kept up to date with their kiosks. They put in new demos and stuff like that. So guess what? The kids were flocking to the PlayStation 1, man. I even asked a couple people, yo, why don't you check this out over here? They're like, well, those, you know, we've seen those games, stuff like that. And you know, Sony was keeping it fresh and stuff. So they have to go in and they have to upgrade this shit, and they have to upgrade it to the X, because that's going to bring everybody to that wall. Right. And then they can decide with their wallets what's going on. But it's going to hook them to get over there first. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to tell you why they haven't upgraded things like Best Buy and GameStop, why they haven't upgraded those kiosks. Because the games that are in there primarily were the same games. There would be one or two exclusive games, and then they would have some multi-plat stuff. The problem was that is one point where you can literally look at this game and this game directly next to each other. And this one looked a little better than that one. So they didn't want to continue to try to push the things that looked better on the other platform sitting right next to each other. The X is going to give them that, oh, this one looks ridiculous compared to that one. Because even if they put the Pro and all of those things, anything that's on the X will look much better than it does on the Pro, regardless of the TV, regardless of the settings. It'll look better, period. So this is where they're going to try to use the eyeball to say this one looks better than this one. And especially that's straight from looking at it sitting right next to each other.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You know what I'm saying, Garrett, was that they need to have that Xbox One X right there with Forza and with Madden, and that would seal the deal. That would and put, you know what I'm saying, put Forza 7 there, and then have Madden. And if you want to put any other exclusive right there, you know, maybe Lucky Tail or something, just to have a little kiddie game.
No, fuck Lucky's Tail. Don't do that.
You need a 4K. You need a 4K TV, first of all.
Well, I know they got to do the kiosks.
You can't use older technology. You can't use like a 1080p. They got to do it. They got to do it right. My thing is, I think they're probably going to do maybe Windows Store, and they're gonna have a maybe GameStop. They'll have to come in there. They're gonna have to put their own displays up. You can't use a fucking Sharp, 2012, 2013 TV and put an X on there. Right. But as far as some of the conversation, I think Garrett's point was very a good one. He said, the S is going to sell more at 200 or whatever, 250, but the X is going to be more popular. And I think that's very true in a way that the X is going to be looked at as like, oh, that's the system to get. some people are going to say, well, we can't get it, but maybe we'll get the, system will wait for it. But it does help the overall platform of console, I think. So I think that's a very good way of describing it. As far as pre-orders, maybe why they're delayed, one of the things that happened with the Project Scorpio was that France and Germany both sold out within an hour. Okay, now those are big markets. Usually they were PC centric, and then they're still PC centric. But when PlayStation 4 came out, there's 3 million sold in Germany and PlayStation in Germany, and there's a lot sold in France. So those two areas, when Xbox saw how fast they said, "Whoa, who would have expected that?" I mean, they were #1 on the Amazon chart, and I've never seen anything, because I've checked sometimes Amazon, never seen anything in the top 20 for Xbox on France and Germany. So I think the Europe equation in this kind of flipped Microsoft in a way. Like, they didn't think that Germany or France was going to be like, wow, we see this as a fucking 4K machine, and they see it for what it is. And I think that that's going to be very interesting when the new pre-orders come out. Look at those. If it's doing well in Germany and France, that's gonna.
Let me ask you a question, Tim. And I didn't even know Post had popped in this. What's going on, Post? Let me ask you a question, Tim.
What's good?
Now again, Gamescom we saw. To me, it was a very lackluster show. But, and believe it or not, in my opinion, maybe you guys may feel the same thing, is that Digital Foundry did a better job advertising the X than Microsoft actually did on the actual show, right? Do you think the audience there at France, did they get to see the same thing that Digital Foundry was showing? Or did they talk about behind the scenes? Or
yeah, I mean, listen, if you just look at it, it's the same thing. It's really the same concept as just like a high-powered car. You're going to have an Infinity, but then you're going to have a fucking Lamborghini. You're going to know that the Lamborghini is just going to blow the Infinity away. I think the concept follows the same. I think that, Europe, listen, if you told me that Europe would sell out in an hour, Europe, Germany, and France, I would be like, I remember fighting with some of the people at Xbox Dynasty and some of the German Xbox sites over there. I'm like, dude, they don't sell anything in those things. And I says, yeah, it's partially because they don't market, but it's partially because there's no demand. But when I saw that, I was like, that flipped me. I was like, holy shit. Like, they see it for what we see it as. I mean, it's a fucking, if we're going to be honest and we're going to just throw all the fanboy stuff and bullshit aside, it's a fucking beast for $500. It captures 4K 60 for $500 with HDR. It's going to play your games at pretty much the highest levels comparable to PCs that play 1,000 and over. I mean, you're getting that in your household on a console for the first time ever. I'm sorry, the Pro is not in that league.
No, not at all. League. Yo, dude, not for anything.
I think people know.
When I went out, I went out and I got a PS4. I thought about the Pro and stuff like that. And this is when we were getting information about the One X as well. And I ended up getting a regular PS4, a vanilla black PS4. And I pre-ordered, like I said, we have 2 Xbox One X's pre-ordered for day one. And the reason why is not only with all that power and stuff like that, they're still catering to people who don't have a 4K television as well. And I think that is a big thing to me. When it came to the PS4 Pro, basically what it was, a bump in resolution, checkerboard resolution, all that good stuff to make it fit your 4K screen. Now, they do have 1080 60 on some games, some modes with that. But when it comes to the One X, every game it's going to be processed as 4K and then downsampled to fit my screen. So even on a 1080p, a regular HD television, the games are still going to look like a lot better on my TV in comparison, and that's why I'm rolling with the One X, man.
Plus, you're going to have those 4K assets being on your 1080p.
Exactly,
TV.
and those, like I said, downsampled to fit my screen. You got the richness in textures. You got the lighting. You got the shadows. Everything that me and Z have been talking about, I feel like me and Next Gen, we've been on the same page with why the One X is.
Ebony and ivory. Well, and again, I guess we have beat that topic in the head with a stick, whether they choose to believe it or not. But something else I want to touch on before we get the hell up out of here. This Xbox Smart something about shrinking the games and post.
Intelligent delivery.
Okay. And post. I know you sent me the article about it. Post? Explain to me this is intelligent delivery. What is this all about? Are there post?
Yeah, I'm here. It's pretty much a way to
this nigga talking sweet.
Ooh,
I don't know what you said.
the sweet one.
Yeah, right. Talking like too sweet. What's going on?
Your girl in the chat or something, man? You trying to get something on for afterwards? What's going on?
I'm just getting off work, so I'm kind of chill. Like, that's been a long day.
I'm gonna go to vending machine selling hot dogs. Talking to me. What's this intelligent delivery thing?
Basically, it's a system that saves on your download speed as well as the storage on your device, on your Xbox One X in this case. But the intelligent part comes from game developers being able to take chunks of game data and put tags on them. So you have like certain portions of the game, like the single player game, put a tag on it, multiplayer game, put a tag on it, languages, put a tag on it, audio, put a tag on it. So based on the system that you're playing on, you'll be able to get an option of the things that you want to download. So say like, I only want the English audio for this game. I don't need the Japanese or the Chinese and the other versions, which we are forced to get now. But the only way this can happen or come to fruition, game developers have to change the way they master their games.
What do you mean by that? Master their games?
Okay, so when a game is done and complete, the last thing you have to do is master. It's just like in music when the game goes gold, they say that the game's gone. Yeah, you got to put that master version together. So what Microsoft did, they got an option where developers can now use up to 15 discs. So they can say, okay, hey, we're going to sit the single player experience on this disc. We're going to put the multiplayer experience on this disc, and we're going to tag them. So that way, when say like if you download game or you purchase a physical copy of the game, you can say I'm gonna beat the single player mode, but if I don't want to keep the single player mode, I can delete that and keep the multiplayer mode. So this is just some of the options that they have. Even with audio, I want to keep the English audio, but I don't want to keep the French and the other things that I don't need. So it's a system that allows you to only obtain the things that you want and go in there and just select things that you want and download those things. Also, based on if you working on the Xbox One X or the Xbox One S, the delivery system will determine the system that you're working on. And so if I'm on an S, it won't send me the 4K assets. It won't send me the 4K assets because I don't need them. But
because
if I'm on an
X,
but if it's on an X, it knows that I'm on the X, so it knows to send me the 4K as assets. Also, screenshot I seen was shrinkable while playable. I think the shrinkable game aspect of it all is Microsoft has always been in compression, compressing things, or consolidating things. And so I guess they got a real advanced version of a compression technology where they're able to compress certain games, because the screenshot I seen was games that are shrinkable, meaning that not every game will be shrinkable, but certain games will be shrinkable where you're able to compress them, or while they're getting compressed, you're still able to play them. So it's all about consolidating the information, because games are getting bigger and bigger. So it's all about consolidating the information and saving you space on your hard drive. I take the iPhone, for instance. If I got 2,000 photos on my iPhone, right? I have ability to optimize my iPhone, meaning that the iCloud is going to send all the high-res versions of my photos up to iCloud and keep a lower-res version on my phone to save up space. So I can use that example right there. So as we move towards the future and games get bigger and bigger, tools and things like that will have to be put in place to consolidate the information so it won't overwhelm the gamer.
Dude, this is absolutely like this is straight innovation here. And one thing, Post, great description by the way. Another thing is since they have this instilled when it comes to the Xbox platform, Xbox now supports multiple physical discs as well. So backwards compatible titles, any games that were on the 360 that couldn't have come over because they were multiple discs and stuff like that, and they didn't do the digital version or whatever, or you own the multiple discs or whatnot, like that'll be instilled in the system as well, where you'll be able to put in the multiple discs and download the game as back compat titles. Man, when you hear this, like it sounds good in the beginning, but as they flesh out this technology, think about this. We have a certain hardware that a certain amount of system RAM, a certain CPU, GPU, SOC and stuff like that. But they're also letting it to the point where it'll download parts of a game as you're playing it. It'll only have a certain section of the game there, and it'll download stuff as you are progressing. Yeah. That when they fully flesh out that technology, that is gonna make it a lot easier to have absolutely huge games, because the system is only going to deal with a certain section at a time, and it's going to download it as you keep progressing. Dude, can you imagine how big the games would get once they actually kind of like master this technology? Like I said, man, innovation, dude.
Yeah, I think this is a very because I know Steam has a version of this. I know Steam has a version of this. PS4, the PSN has a version up, but it doesn't do what Microsoft. It does it in the context of the game that you're streaming and in that perspective. But this right here is something that's going to bode well for the future, especially with people with data caps that have a data cap in regards to their internet and bandwidth. This will bode well for them, and to have the ability to have that much access over the content and have that and put that type of control in the gamer's hands to say, hey, I want this content, but I don't want this content. I want to put this here. That is awesome.
Yeah, quicker download speeds and and saving your hard drive space. That's huge for a lot of people. So imagine Xbox going with the innovation, and I understand it's on PC, but we're talking about consoles, and exactly. saying that's never been done before. That's what I'm saying, to this degree. So
it's only going at this point. When it comes out, the Xbox One X and the Xbox One S will be the only console to have those features. Like I said, the Sony do it, but they do it in regards to the streaming of the games. It doesn't allow you to split up the data like that. They do it as far as the games and what's next in the game, depending on where you at in the level. So it's totally different.
Z,
this is awesome.
Yes.
Z, check this out, man. This is like me and you. We both play NBA 2K, right? We do. Yeah, bro, I do, man. Here's the deal, man. I play my player, right? You're not into my player, my career, or anything like that. So with this technology, with if 2K backs it up, you can download your online component to that, right? And you'll be happy with that. And you don't have to download your My Career or anything like that, which will save you hard drive space. Me, on the other hand, I like to go into My Career. I don't really go online except if it's 5 versus 5. I don't like doing one-on-one type stuff. I like going in as a team, right? But I stay in My Career. So I don't, if 2K implements this, I don't have to go and download that online part of it that you like to hang out in, but I'll have my part of the game that I like to play. And if we ever decide we're going to get together, all I have to do is download that smaller section back onto my system. And that's beautiful right there, yo.
Let me ask you guys this. I know that they said that, or CD Projekt Red said that they're going to do a Witcher 3 enhanced version for Xbox One X, but after it's released. So maybe this is a part of the reason why it's coming after the One X is released, as opposed to not being there on launch, is because they're going to have this intelligent delivery. How awesome is that going to be able to cut out some of that not awful audio, but the audio that we don't understand, like the different languages, cut that space down? Because what is the Witcher 3 now with all the add-ons? It's got to be close to 80 gigs. So when with the 4K textures, when that comes, it's going to add on another 40 gigs.
Dude, think about Halo 5, because a lot of people, you know, they put the story underneath the fucking magnifying glass and they talk mad shit about the story, but they're still in there on the multiplayer, right? So if you're not going to play the story again, cut that shit out, take it off your hard drive, keep the multiplayer on, and you're going to cut the size of that install, like, I would say at least a third, man. That's still like another game to download onto your system, yo.
But I would definitely keep expectations in line, because it's definitely on a game by game basis. Microsoft proposed this this intelligent delivery system to developers back at XFest, so they already know about it. I'm pretty sure by now they got their hands on it, so it will be just like the power of the X. Developers will have a choice to use it or not, but I'm pretty sure majority of them will, because it's a dope system. And I know from a first party perspective that
there you go,
the first party studios is going to utilize it and pretty much probably set the table for other developers to come up with ideas and different ways to use it as well.
I hear what you're saying, right? And this is where I missed the D's of Donnie D. I got to shut my man down.
Every episode we hear about Donnie D.
Listen, man, he's my man, Chris. Check it out, right? With Microsoft,
yo, you can hire him. I don't think he's employed right now, man. I'm just saying.
Donnie got that money though. $1,000.
No, he needs Zaire to hire. He needs to hire Zaire for like a press.
But look, check it out though, right? And this is I guess this new regime of Microsoft, where it's up to the developers. Put your foot down and say, listen here. Utilize what we have, and I tell you the story again. I'm not gonna say the developer name. But I inboxed a certain dev. You guys know 2K is my favorite game.
I'll say his name. His name was Bill Tetley.
There you go. Hit at the hit. And I asked, I said, if Microsoft gives you guys access to their dedicated servers, why aren't you guys using them? And his response was to me, verbatim here, paraphrasing, that it would be unfair to Sony and their fans if they were to use those things. I think Microsoft really needs to start flexing their muscles when it comes to the advantages of their systems. You know what I mean?
I disagree.
No,
what?
But you go ahead. I disagree. But
okay, you could. But listen, for them, like I said, too, because let's be honest with you, most people think that there's not a big difference between the Xbox overall and the PlayStation 4. And I always said I beg to differ. To me, they're totally two different goddamn consoles, right? But it comes again to the point where, like I said, Microsoft needs to flex their muscle and be the behemoth that you are. If you want your game on this platform, what was that game? Kim was coming out last year. It was some game. It was a Gun 3 or Shooter 3 or something about 505 game, and it basically was giving the Xbox owners shit. We didn't get any free stuff or pre-order it, and Microsoft. We seemed like us at BGST. I forgot the name of the game. I didn't even buy the damn game, but we had to, do a show about it and make it vocal and tweet it, Phil and everybody. Then they finally made a response. They're gonna see what that's about. They're just too nice. And let me say this. Developers need Microsoft just as much as Microsoft need developers, okay? And you can't just go out there, because they make just as much money on the Xbox, maybe a little more on the PlayStation, but they need that. They agree. You know what? We're not gonna put Assassin's Creed on the Xbox because we're not gonna use the 4K. No, it's not gonna go like that. They're gonna get that shit up to snuff for their thing. You know what I mean? It's to me, Microsoft really need to put their foot down. And stuff like that.
Z, I think I just said this like last Saturday, man. I got to roll with you because like we said, beginning of this generation, it was all about resolution, right? Developers took advantage of the power in the PS4, the ease of development on the PS4. You had 1080p games there compared to 900 on the Xbox. So how the hell are you going to be screaming for parity when we all know Xbox platform, Xbox Live, it's known as the place to go for competitive online multiplayer. So why the hell don't the developers go and use the dedicated servers on this side? Since it is the personality of the platform, ride it, man. Ride it till the end. I agree with you 100%, dude.
I disagree, Z.
Let's hear. Listen before I cut your mic off. What you about to say, man?
I'm about to give you that. You're about to get this work. You know what I'm saying? Look, I look at that. I use an example that you use all the time. In regards to one of the reasons why Bungie left, because they didn't have enough freedom.
Okay.
You start forcing them.
Oh man.
Because they didn't have enough freedom. If you start forcing developers to do things that they probably don't have the time for, then you probably start, messing up relationships there. And what I mean by that is that you're forcing things into their development cycle that might cause time constraints, rather than to let them decide when the best time to implement that technology. Also, you giving them a crutch, meaning that they can start saying, hey, the reason why this feature is missing because we had to do this. And the reason why this feature is missing because of that. So I think when you force developers to do things that they probably don't want to do, because some developers might not even use it. Some developers might will. But by them having the decision to do it and not to do it, I think you have a smoother relationship there than trying to force them to do something.
Yo, Post, hold on 1 second. Yo, Post, I hear what you're saying. You're making sense. But my whole thing is, if they were about that, if they were about like they didn't want to do this or that, like, they had to put extra time in even to utilize the power of the PS4. Let's be real. All right, because it's going to take less time to make a 900p game as compared to a 1080p game. So they put extra time and effort on that side of things, right? So why all of a sudden you're going to screen parity when it comes to online multiplayer? You feel me? It doesn't make sense, man.
In regards to the systems themselves, it's not about. In regards to the system themselves, it's not about spending more time developing the game. When you get new systems, it's more time
talking about, well, this feature ain't in here because we had to put this in, or they already spent more time though on the PS4 with their titles to get that 1080p compared to the 900 or whatnot. So they're already doing that, man.
Back at that time, it was probably more time spent trying to figure out the capabilities of the systems than they were developing games. I mean, they know how to develop games. PC games start on PC.
Who is Microsoft to demand anything right now, brother? Exactly. I don't know if y'all know it now, but they had like 30-something million. Exactly. The competition is demanding anything from developers, man. Developing anything from developers can cause bad relationships. Let me tell you something. They need those relationships right now. You sound crazy to even talk about demanding.
I'm glad there's people.
You don't want to do that, man. They need they need to build every bridge they can with developers.
And I ain't even got to talk, and I got people over here on my side.
Listen to me. Listen.
They're doing that now.
I'm gonna tell you something.
Developers
can't come out there trying to be the big dog, bro.
They're doing what they're supposed to do.
Xbox cannot come out there and show your
value either, man.
Hold on, Z. Hey, Chris, get
hold on, Z.
This is my right here.
Let me tell you something. Z. Let me tell you something. Yeah, they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They got a powerful system on the market. They got developer tools that are a lot more easier than on the Xbox One. Games are getting over to the Xbox One X faster than they were on the Xbox One. And also, they got tools. They're giving developers as much tools as possible. Do what they need to do.
He got a lot of window gloves. You ready for this?
Let's go. Hold on. Before he go. Let's talk about it.
Before he go, let me put this point across. My man, listen. You know you my boy, my main man. 50 but let me tell you this, brother.
Anybody can get it.
Microsoft Xbox division demanding that of a developer is equivalent to freaking. What is that? North Korea trying to tell United States of America to do something. Like you're bugging, you can't do nothing. Like the other company is killing you, and I don't want to hear about Microsoft money because they don't spend it on Xbox. It's obvious.
No, Garrett, there's a way to kind of demand without demand, man. You're talking like hardcore. Like, you ever hear the hustle game, man? There's a hustle game that goes on within the corporation and stuff like that. You feel me?
That's where advertising comes from.
Listen, you ready for this?
No. Are you ready? Come out there trying to be arrogant.
A lot of you guys are new to this whole Xbox thing. I'm gonna take you back to the OG Xbox, okay?
Oh God, bro!
You ready?
We gonna get out the past.
When I was young, I'm not a kid.
Who was the market leader doing this 6th generation?
He's in his Puerto Rican
story. Who was the console leader during this 6th generation?
Don't matter.
PlayStation.
PlayStation.
Okay.
PlayStation.
We can all agree on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When it came to multi-plat games that were online for the PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox, Microsoft said all of our games must have friend invites, voice chats, mandatory, or we would not put it on Xbox Live. And they were being outsold 150 million to 25 million. So don't tell me that they can't put their foot down.
Okay, now you're talking about the OG Xbox, right? The OG Xbox, right?
Are you ready for this again?
The OG Xbox was better received than this Xbox, bro. I'm sorry. It's a different date in time.
No, it's not, because the OG Xbox didn't sell very well.
Not only that, as a developer, you wouldn't have as a developer, you
I'm gonna take this again. 25 million versus 150 million lifetime sales. Are you going to tell me it was better received than the PlayStation 2?
It's not even that.
It was better received than the original Xbox?
It's not even that. Back in those Xbox Live days, Microsoft did majority of the work when it came to Xbox Live and its features. The developers, even in regards to the infrastructure, Microsoft, audio playing in the background was at a system level. When you play the game, when you put on 2K and you played your music, that was at system level. It was nothing that the developers had to do.
Listen, you're not going to dilute this conversation.
Let's talk about it.
I will hate to question your credibility and integrity. What I said to you was, listen here, Negro. What I said to you was that when it came to online feature, which is done by the developers, Microsoft had a standard that any game that's going to be certified for Xbox Live must have in-game voice chat, game invites. Where it wasn't so on the PlayStation 2. That's what I just said. So don't tell me that they can't.
I understand that, but I'm telling you, Microsoft did that work for them. The developers, the implementation of those features was super easy because Microsoft made them easy. So they had no problem with accepting those stipulations.
I'm also telling you that was a decade ago.
On Sony's side,
2017. In 2017, this is what Microsoft needs to do. Microsoft is doing exactly what they need to do. They need to make it easy for the developers to do it so that nobody goes and say, oh, Microsoft, why didn't you do this? Microsoft, why didn't you do this?
Not only that,
Microsoft, why didn't you do that? Instead, they go Bungie. What the hell is wrong with y'all? The Xbox One X is powerful. Why ain't y'all taking advantage of it? Microsoft saying we gave them what they needed. We gave them everything they wanted. Y'all go at them and leave us.
We could demand those features when we telling you that we're gonna do majority of the work.
Now, listen,
you comparing that to the PlayStation brand, which they had to set up their own network and everything. The developers had to do.
What I'm saying is this again. I'm talking about those things. You know, features I'm talking about came from the number. Okay. Same thing with, I'll give you an example as far as the Wii U. Now, whether you could choose to believe me or not, I know some people that know some people, okay?
Okay.
And it wasn't that the Wii U couldn't do voice chat. It wasn't the fact that the Wii U couldn't have in-game, No. It wasn't, that wasn't the case. It was capable of all those things, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But again, no, I'm gonna tell too much. But listen what I'm telling you. I don't do that. I don't kiss and tell. But listen what I'm telling you right this, okay? that
like, hold up, I'm about to say too much.
Yeah, they can again ask or demand have a standard, okay? Whether whatever, they can have a standard of what's acceptable for us, our class for the class go. Because again, these developers, whether it's Ubisoft, EA, whoever, you look at the sales of Destiny, if I'm not mistaken, Destiny was leading on the Xbox for a little while on PS4, man, fastest. Don't tell me, if you talk about the console sales, and even if you look at the attach rate to the Xbox versus the PlayStation as far as software sales, the Xbox One and per bit is actually beating the PS4 in software sales per for attach per game per console. You know what I mean? Again, so but we're not talking about what exclusive sales. We're talking about overall the multi-plat games. You know what I mean? The Xbox sells a lot of goddamn software for these companies. Now it's not like Nintendo when they released Injustice and it sold 19,000 copies for the month. Now you say that, you know what? Nintendo's not in a place to demand anything or ask for anything. That's not the case. Because the hardware sales isn't going in EA's pocket or Activision pockets or whatever. Long as the third-party games sell well on the platform, which they do, okay, it's not an issue. You understand that, child of mine? I love you like children that see every day.
Hold on. I got this. Real light work real quick. I got this. Real light work real quick. So, Z, we're going to go with your model. So this what happened, right? The PS2 was killing everything in the 6th generation, right? So Sony came in, swinging they dig around, talking about, hey, we're going to put out this cell processor. All y'all going to make games for the cell processor, period. And you know what happened? Nobody wanted to do that. Then, you know what they did for the PS4? They made it easy. Xbox made it harder. So, you know what they did? They switched over to PlayStation. Then, PlayStation was like, yo,
what you're saying,
make our game 1080p. Cool. We got you.
Hey, man, what's your name again? Jethro. What I'm telling you was this, okay? We can leave the okay? At the end of the day, right? Even with the cell process, Sony didn't miss any third-party multiplats, okay? Strictly, whether how hard it was developed or not, they didn't miss any third-party multiplats, did they?
But you said they made they need to make demands. They made a demand, and nobody was like, nah. Everybody was like, nah.
So
we're not gonna develop. We're gonna go over here with the easy.
So you think Ubisoft was not? Oh,
they switched it over the same way. Just like when the PS2 came out, and they were like, yo, we are going cell processor. Everybody fall in line because we are PlayStation. We was kicking everybody's ass.
You ready?
That's what they did.
Let me tell you something.
Whoever they're not.
They split back.
I can agree with Maslin on this. Let me read a quote for you from Cass Harai in the PS3 era. He said,
"Hit the like button."
This was back when, you know, the cell processor and how challenging. He said, we don't provide the easy to program for on console that developers want, because easy to program for means that anybody will be able to take advantage of pretty much what the hardware can do. So then the question is, what do you do for the rest of the 9.5 years? You feel me? That goes in line with what Mass said. They say, okay, everybody's gonna develop for this cell processor, even though it was complicated. Sony saying, well, we don't make the easy, because the 360 was easy to develop for at that time.
But you see, so, you're talking hardware here. See, I got to roll with Z on this one, because imagine this, man.
You're outnumbered.
Hold on. I need everybody on the panel close their eyes and imagine this, man. Going back to the first Call of Duty, right? First, you had the launch where they said, we have all these dedicated servers, developers can use these or whatnot. Can you imagine the first Call of Duty, whether or not you like Call of Duty or not, it is a multi-plat that sells millions on each platform. Now, if they went to Activision and said, guess what? Yeah, we have no problem bringing Call of Duty, having that on our system and stuff like that, but we need you to use dedicated servers. If they said no, and Xbox said, you know what? Fine, your game's not coming on our platform. They're losing out on millions of dollars. Bro, you think the next year?
It's a hole in that, though. It's a hole in that, because you're alienating.
Life's a gamble, man.
You're alienating your community of being.
No, the devs are.
Beating your devs
are.
Okay. Look. Listen, we'll close the show with this. We're going to agree to disagree on this. I know what the hell I'm talking about.
I wish I was here early.
Yeah, I wish I'm about to get the hell up out of here, but I want to close the show with this. Fortnite, I just did a video on it. Here's the shameless plug. I just did a video on it. I don't know if it was by accident, by choice, about whatever that.
I think it was an accident, but that's just crazy.
But the Xbox One guys found themselves in the room with the PlayStation 4 guys on the new update, or and the Xbox guys. Cold blood kills him bugging out. But crossplay.
So is there video of this?
Yeah, so I left the link in my video.
I gotta check it out.
Yeah,
they running scared. The ponies is galloping right now.
They know.
They're galloping right now.
Man, look, if you primarily play on Xbox, it's like when I got on Battlefield on the PS4 and play, man, I'm averaging like between 30 and 40 kills. And when I come on the Xbox, I get put down to reality. I'm like 15, maybe get 28 sometimes, but I'm like, it's just a whole different dynamic, man. You know what I'm saying? It's I got used to playing shooters on the on this, and on Titanfall, man, it's a slaughter, because me and 100 be playing Titanfall 2 quite a bit. And when we jump on the PS4, man, them dudes be getting laid out. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole nother animal. You know what I'm saying? So, but they still got Street Fighter 5, and then they got Persona. So.
Hold on. Did you say Persona?
No, I said Persona. Oh,
hey,
I'm sorry.
Let me tell you.
Penis demon.
Hey, let me say something. I just want you PlayStation guys to understand that that's the one thing Yoshida fears. He fears them having some type of a scoreboard of, you know, Xbox versus PS4 and who's winning X amount of games. He fears that. He knows what'll happen. He knows we will slaughter y'all. It's not even close. It's not even a competition with us. We are the shooter guys. Like, yo, we don't want to run around looking like 9-year-old girls with boarding school skirts on and shit. That's not what we're into. We're into killing people.
Yo.
Like, we're killers. That's what we do.
Hey. Oh, you know what? Just like my boy Jabari, you know what? I got hooked up to the to Yoshida's DM line. Hey, Yoshida, do you really want us to do some match play together where we can all do? What is it called, guys? Crossplay. Do you really want us to do crossplay? It's not happening. They know, man. It's ridiculous.
It creates a it allows people to gouge the difference between the performances between the networks, and things like that. So I think that's another reason why they don't want to do it. I know we're gonna body them anyway. That's what we do. We've been doing this since the OG.
And they talk that shit about fighting games too. They ain't too impressive.
They ain't gonna do it because, just like Post is saying, like, everybody's gonna blame it on a whole bunch of stuff, and Sony don't want to be in the talk about how good or bad their network are, especially now that they starting to charge more, and they're gonna go up in price again. So I guarantee you, by this time next year, they go up in price in the US and in all North American territories. And you know what's gonna happen on the PlayStation side? Ain't nobody gonna say nothing, because it's okay when PlayStation does it. Xbox, if they raised it by 50 cents, everybody's spazzing. So they don't want those conversations with Xbox came in, everybody's getting bodied on the crossplay service from the Xbox dudes, and then they like, oh, so it's because the network is better over there. They don't want any of that to be a conversation ever, so they're gonna stay as far away from it as possible.
Because if I'm a Sony fan and that's totally played on PSN, and I never touched Xbox Live, and I'm in crossplay, right? And I'm having issues, and I'm seeing that every time I play. Not saying this just hypothetically speaking. If I see on the Xbox side that they always playing smooth and rarely deal with issues, even though there's some issues on their side too, but they rarely go through the things that I go through. I'm like, let me go over here and check and play on Xbox Live service and then compare it to what I'm experiencing on the PS4 side. They don't want that type of discussion. They don't want to see that. Also, to bring up discussions and conversations and debates, not only from content creators like us, but the media as well, in regards to the comparison and contrasting between the two networks and things like that. It don't get we don't speak about it that much now, but when that crossplay go, watch.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a
PSN lives matter, baby. PSN lives matter.
every year I do a lot of scenario paintballing. Won't be doing it this year, but like this one huge game I go to, it's always a blue versus red. Blue is always winning, so for some reason everybody wants to be on the blue team. Me, I like going to the red team. The blue team would actually be that Xbox team in this scenario in shooter games. I mean, it would not be close. Like, for they're scared that people want to jump ship and be with the guys, the cool team. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to see that. Yoshida knows.
What do you think PlayStation would dominate at on crossplay?
Fighting games.
Tinky winky. Tinky winky games, but no, probably fighting games, because they're not. Because I'm huge into fighters, but it's more of the thing if there's not.
No, we'll send Def Jam Bam. We'll send Def Jam Bam and Next Gen after the fighters, man. We'll be good.
Speaking of fighters, real quick, can we talk about that Dragon Ball Z fighters?
Yeah, let's say that about a hot second, man. Yeah.
Like, how much of a pain in the ass has that been to get into a fucking server?
I haven't played it yet, but I'm gonna try to play a couple games tonight.
Let me ask you guys a question. I got a chance to play the game. As far as I've gotten is.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
That game is made by Namco, right?
Yeah.
Namco Bandai, yeah.
Okay, why is it that why is it that Namco games seem to be trash on the Xbox, but they're always good on PS4?
That I don't know, because I you know what? Yeah, because I have
night and day on PS4, bro.
Well, Tekken has got a lot better on the Xbox now, but it was trash in the beginning. And then, you know, if you go to play Guilty Gear and things like that, Guilty Gear plays fantastic. I'm just like, come on.
I'll tell you why. I know the reason. The reason is very simple and it's technical. When Banco and when they merged together, their server farm was a sub hub of Sony's offshoots. Yep. So their servers, more or less, are basically connected to Sony's hardware, like trunk line. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the data points where you're picking up on the pinging from place to place is all going through stuff that's directly connected to Sony.
Right. Yeah. Naruto's online, absolutely unplayable. It's, you know what I'm saying.
What did I tell you guys? Told you, Nethus, and when you guys were telling us, because I never watched any of the Dragon Ball shows. I told you that game was going to be dog shit and never dog.
Well, I mean, they still got a lot of work.
It's not dog shit, bro.
But no, the game is fire. But the thing of it is, it's positive that they did this.
Without listen, let's be clear. This is 2017. Mm-hmm. What's a fighter without decent online? Let's be clear, this okay. And when you guys were hyping it up, then I said this game is going to be dog shit because of the netcode, and I'll pass.
I will say this: I had 4 matches. 3 of the 4 were pretty good, but one of them was just super dog shit lag.
Yeah.
Yo, my son was pumped for that closed beta, and yo, he went with his mom over the weekend. He asked her to drop him off early. He was in the living room. He was getting ready. He was gonna stream on Mixer, everything like that. I think he got like 2 games in every other time. Yo, it said it like the service was down for maintenance or some bullshit like that, man.
Booted you out. Yeah, it was crazy. It pissed me off. I was like, come on, you know, because I'm excited for it, and it's like but this happens with pretty much all those Japanese fighters, man. I mean, and it sucks. Now, like I said, Tekken is back in order, but you don't get this from the other realm. You know, when they come with theirs, everything is good on their end, but when it comes to Naruto, when it comes to One Piece, Tekken, shit, just name it. You know what I'm saying? Even Blaze Blue, it's just still
One Piece is trash anyway, man.
Well, no, the fighting aspect of it of One Piece is no, it's dope. The story is abysmal. I like to this day, I never ever will buy a deluxe edition of One Piece. Fuck that. But the fighting is dope when you get into like a match, one-on-one match.
I download just the demo, man. I felt so bad. Yo, I'm not even Catholic. I went to church and did confession, man. That's how bad that demo was, yo.
Did you play the story mode, or did you just jump into the verse mode?
Yo, man,
verse mode is good. It's fun. It's fun as hell. But the story is bad. It's garbage.
And now with the intelligent system of install, you can only download the multiplayer and be happy with that. Yeah.
All right, well, listen, speaking of who get the hell up out of here, so you want to catch these hands in 2K? You need 30 minutes?
I mean, we could play a little 2K. You gave up on Madden?
No, I ain't gave up, man, bro. You want to listen? Hey, bro, use a single player game. I mean, online any day, brother. We can play 2K. We can play Madden. We can make it happen.
We can play 2K. I'm going to go ahead.
All right, say no more. You heard me, ladies and gentlemen. So give about 15 minutes. I'm gonna set up the live stream. I got
we'll be a little bit because I gotta fix me something to eat, man.
I'll be on there. I'm about to eat my family can.
Yeah, yo, Mega has to make that fancy cocktail with the little umbrella in it, man.
You're damn right.
Let me say something real quick.
What you talking about?
Let me say something real quick. I just want to talk to the chat real quick before we kick out. On this panel, we all content creators. We're all gamers, game enthusiasts. We all prefer Xbox. Some of us on this panel are multi-console owners that own different platforms. Okay.
Yeah, I got 4 Xboxes, 3 PS4s, a Nintendo Switch, 2 DSs.
we all on this panel have different expectations of Microsoft when it comes to gaming. We all have opinions. Whether you agree with those opinions or not, it's cool. We're going to agree. We're going to disagree. We're not forcing our opinions on you. But when Microsoft is doing good, of course, we're going to celebrate them. But when they're doing bad, we have to criticize them when they're not living up to our own expectations. So when you unsubscribe to a person's channel because his or her expectations are not in line with yours, then I don't know what you're here for or why you came, but you don't understand why we're here. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to make that known. Our expectations of these companies are going to differ. A lot of times they're not going to be in line with each other. But just because they're not in line with each other doesn't mean
if you're an Xbox,
you gotta get mad with us because we're not kissing ass. We're not here to kiss ass. We're gonna praise them when they're doing good, but we're gonna correct them and check them when they ain't on that game.
Throw the post up. It's gonna take your post up. It's gonna give y'all a.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen,
hands on you.
Walking out with BGST tonight. Improv. Hit the like button. Listen, this show, how many likes we got? I'm gonna drop a cool in the chat. I'm going to be generous today.
Pass the offering.
Oh, hold on, let me go. Hold on. Let me go.
Who wants to, thank you for the testimony.
We got listen, I got
ain't got no sis.
I got an Xbox Live code here. We get up to 150 likes right now. I'm dropping in the chat right now.
Hallelujah. Yes. Yes.
Let's get 150 likes right now. The code is going in the chat right now as we speak.
Yes, and subscribe to everybody that you see on BGST tonight. You know what I'm saying? These new content creators. You know what I'm saying? That's Geek and Mega. It's gonna sign us off. Thank you so much.
Yeah, all right.
You know what I'm saying? Thank you so much, Brother Z, for calling us in on this beautiful Sunday.
Z.
And having us testify the gaming to the gaming gods out there.
They must have what Xbox Live, man. They don't need it, man.
Yes. So thank you. Appreciate it so much. Y'all have a good, blessed night.
Yeah,
God bless. Pass the offering plate around.
Pass the offering plate around.
Pass the offering plate around.
If y'all scared of Xbox, come on up here. We're going to put our hands on you. Make you feel good. And make you feel revived about Xbox. It's all good tonight. Hallelujah.
Xbox Live. I got a year. I got a year and I got a couple months free to Xbox Live. 150 likes right now.
We got a year of Xbox.
I'm gonna count down to 10. I got a year Xbox Live and I got a couple.
Yeah, Xbox Live.
No, I ain't do all that, man.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you for coming out. God bless. Good night, man.
Yeah.